Today on the CTV News at 5.
Spent hours on the phone trying to get help.
Weeks after a Lethbridge area family called for help over a suspected rabies case, they're now being told to get vaccinated and some of their pets euthanized. And at least one political scientist says it'll be hard predicting the next MP for the Medicine Hat riding, but it'll be fun to watch.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. A Lethbridge area family is concerned about their health tonight after staff with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency waited over 3 weeks to respond to a suspected rabies case at their acreage. 3 members of the family are now receiving their rabies vaccinations. Some of their family pets have been removed and euthanized. But the family has serious concerns about how the case was handled and why it took so long to get action. Terry Vogt reports.
I'm very scared. I'm scared for myself and my children.
Lisa Schlichter and 2 of her daughters have already had a series of painful rabies vaccinations, and 2 more are scheduled. But they're wondering why it took the Canadian Food Inspection Agency almost 3 weeks to act on the family's call for help. It all started when a stray cat showed up at their acreage outside of Lethbridge.
We've helped out strays before, so we just put eye drops in its eye, cleaned it, and we gave it some food, and then we thought maybe it'd be on its way, but it stuck around.
A few days later, the cat became seriously ill.
And it was just like in the corner, just like hissing, and it was starting, and then I go up to it, and I see that its eye is just dripping with pus. So I was gonna go clean it, and then it tries to bite me. And then when it tries to bite me, all this foam just flew from its mouth. And then I look, and it's all over my garage floor, this foam. And then I was like, Mom, something's wrong.
Spent hours on the phone trying to get help.
The Schlichters called vet clinics, the county, and the Lethbridge Animal Shelter. Eventually, the SPCA referred them to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
And nobody would come. Nobody. And it suffered bad.
After the cat died, the family was told to clean up the garage with bleach, and they were left to dispose of the carcass on their own. 3 weeks later, the Schlichters got a surprise phone call from the CFIA, saying members of the family needed to get rabies shots. And there was more bad news. They would have to quarantine their family cats for 6 months or turn them over to be destroyed. The family's 3 cats and 6 kittens were brought here to the Lethbridge Animal Shelter, where they were euthanized. The carcasses are now being tested for rabies, and the Schlichters are searching for answers.
I don't know what rabies really is. I don't know what the protocols are. I don't know, did that cat have rabies or did it not? Do 9 cats have to lose their life because someone wouldn't get paid overtime to come out here and pick up a dead cat that suffered? Really? Is that the world we live in?
The Schlichters say it's too late for their cats, but by speaking out, they're hoping to prevent this from happening to others. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The city owns the animal shelter but says animal control is handled by a private company that was contracting its services to the CFIA. We did contact the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, which responded with an email. The agency says on May 3rd, they asked the owner to keep the cat isolated, but had been informed that no family members were exposed to the stray cat. They say the matter came to their attention again then on May the 22nd after receiving notification from the Office of the Provincial Chief Veterinary Officer. The family let us know a few minutes ago that they received test results and none of their pets had rabies. Our CMP are investigating after receiving a report from Colehurst that a man tried to entice a young girl to get into his vehicle. Police say it happened around 8:30 Monday morning as the girl was walking to school. A family member intervened and the man drove away from the scene. It's alleged the man was in an older beige or brown Range Rover SUV with black stripes on it. The rear windows were tinted. Police say the child wasn't harmed and their officers are doing a follow-up investigation. The Mounties are asking anyone who has information about the incident to contact the Lethbridge RCMP. The Palliser School District has sent a letter home to parents.
we acted on that information by releasing a letter to all our parents in the Coalers community about some suspicious behavior of a male in the area. We heightened our supervision at that time as well as a precautionary measure. We're also sending out other information through automated voice system that we have in each of our schools to inform all our parents.
There have been some concerns, but again, our policy is not to do anything until we hear from central office via the RCMP.
Now, RCMP say the man is between 30 and 40 years old. He was wearing a hat, a green shirt. Again, if you have any information, please contact RCMP. Meanwhile, Medicine Hat police are looking for leads in the sexual assault of a 24-year-old woman. Back on May the 5th, the woman accepted a ride from two men in the parking lot of a bar in the Southwest Industrial area. She was sexually assaulted in the vehicle before being dropped off at the Husky truck stop. One of the suspects is described as a Hispanic male, 20 to 25 years old, with a stocky build. The other described as a male between 20 and 25 years of age, long, slim face, and a British accent. They were driving what has been described as an older four-door purple car with a radio antenna located on the rear of the vehicle. If you have information, please contact the Major Crime Section of the Medicine Hat Police Service. Brooks RCMP are also asking for your help. This time, it's for a hit and run involving a 13-year-old boy who was riding his bike. Around 7 o'clock Monday night, the boy was crossing Castles Road in a crosswalk on his bike when he was hit by a black pickup truck. The teen was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. If you have information, please contact police. And a Cranbrook man behind the wheel of a crash that killed a 20-year-old woman on New Year's Day back in 2012 has pleaded guilty in the case. 44-year-old Roland Capello admitted to dangerous driving causing death and failure to stop at the scene of an accident. Capello was driving on Mission Road when his truck flipped. 5 people were in the vehicle, but his niece wasn't wearing a seatbelt. She was thrown about 25 meters and then died at the scene. Other passengers in the vehicle told police that Capello was going too fast for the icy roads and had been drinking. The case will be back in court in July to set a sentencing date. So Dory, around average, that seems to be the weather theme for the next few days.
Yeah, it is, as far as temperatures go. But, you know, just in the last couple of hours, the weather forecast is shifting, as is often the case in southern Alberta. We were watching this low yesterday. Now it looks like it's stalling. So that really does change the dynamics. But I'll give you the details that I have in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. A group of landowners in the Willow Creek area are speaking out about a wind power project set to break ground near their property. The contract was signed 4 or 5 years ago, but many of the property owners in the area didn't find out about it until just last year. Jeanette Rocher reports.
Wendy Van Hark is on a mission to educate farmers about the risks involved in signing contracts with wind energy companies.
People aren't aware of what they could be getting from finances, how these wind companies come in and they promise this, this, and this. And then in the end, they kind of do what they want and there's nobody governing it.
She's developed the Willow Creek Wind Action Group, opposing wind farms because of the damage they cause to crops, as well as the noise issues and safety concerns.
One of the biggest ones in this area that we know of is ice chunks flying off the blades because our temperatures change so rapidly. Ice gets on the blades, those blades are moving at high speeds, the ice gets thrown.
Van Hark's property is in the middle of a future wind farm project that will see 50 wind turbines installed around her house. One of the complaints of those opposed to the wind turbines are that only 6 landowners will benefit from them, whereas about 50 families will be negatively affected. Van Hark says her research shows the land value can decrease by 30 to 40% for property owners living near turbines. Her brother-in-law, David, also lives in the affected area. He says he wouldn't have purchased his property if he'd known about the future wind farm.
I built a brand new home out there. You know, we got a beautiful view, but now we're going to end up looking at those windmills for the rest of our life.
The Willow Creek Power Project currently proposes that turbines be 500 meters from surrounding properties.
We're trying to change that to 2,000 meters, you know, because then at least you won't hear them as bad.
CTV spoke with the Reeve of MD of Willow Creek, who told us it's physically impossible to set back the turbines to 2,000 meters because there's just too much property in the way. Jeanette Roche, CTV News, MD of Willow Creek.
Alberta Utilities Commission is holding a public information session about the project tonight, 7 p.m. in Fort Macleod at the Community Centre. Political scientist says Lethbridge MP Jim Hillier was forced to make a tough political decision because the Electoral Boundaries Commission would not accept a compromise that would have favored both Conservative candidates. Hillier says he will run in the Medicine Hat riding in the next federal election. Medicine Hat MP LeVar Payne says he is disappointed he wasn't notified until after Hillier sent out a news release. Payne says he will seek re-election. University of Lethbridge political scientist Jeffrey Hale says the Tories have a catfight on their hands.
There was an effort to arrange boundaries that would be politically satisfactory for both Mr. Payne as the member for Medicine Hat and for Mr. Hillier as the member for Lethbridge. The Boundaries Commission refused to bless that arrangement, saying that it had listened to local communities from Cardston and Warner County that wanted to maintain their existing community of interest. At that point, Mr. Hillier had to decide whether he was going to run in Lethbridge or run in his hometown, which is the source of much of his personal support in running for the nomination.
Hillier and his family live in Raymond. Now, Dr. Hale says it's hard to predict the outcome, but it should be fun to watch. He says nomination meetings are all about signing up supporters and making sure they get out to vote. The County of Lethbridge will soon be looking for a new manager. CAO Dennis Shigematsu is retiring in November. He started with the county as a junior accountant back in 1986 and worked his way up the ladder. Shigematsu was appointed manager in 2007. Tonight on Farm TV, a growing connection between southern Alberta and a village in Russia.
In the winter of 2011, Pincher Creek, Alberta rancher Quentin Stevick was sent to Russia to help with a herd of Angus cattle imported from Canada.
What our company is over there, the name of the company is Agrifirma Russia. The agricultural division of the company is a conception to consumer, totally vertically integrated organic farm.
The company now has opened 3 meat shops in Moscow and will be adding more. In the fall of 2012, Quentin became involved in building another project in Golovino Village, a skating rink.
I supplied the money and they did the work, which meant, I think, the 2 son-in-laws, and it's for the village. The thing about this village is I am the first Canadian ever in this village. So for good or for bad, I represent Canada. And so I'm very, very fortunate. I didn't realize until this year how fortunate I was.
So if sometime in the future there's a player in the NHL from Golovino Village, we'll know how he got here.
Farm TV is brought to you by DA Building Systems.
Straight ahead, Dory's going to tell us more about the forecast on the way. In the markets, a good day for most everything except for the dollar.